shale.
Bedding.
But shale's got a foliation as well, with bedding, or laminations more specifically. Yeah, okay, so there's a sheen on that foliation surface. Okay, it's not particularly strong, but it's there, and there's something else there that we'll discuss in a minute as well. Okay, so the first thing you asked to do was classify it, and you've already decided it was a slate, and that was on the basis of the fact that it has a foliation which for the moment we're assuming is tectonic, because we have a sheen on the foliation surface there. Okay, so you're asked it, I can still smell cigarette smoke. Whoever it is, please move away from me. Makes it really hard to talk. Okay. Can you see individual mineral grains? No, I'll agree with you though on that one. What minerals do you think might be present? What's making up the rock? What do you think the degree of recrystallization is? Is there a lot of new minerals in here? No, so a lot of it's probably the original sedimentary grain. What did it start out as? It probably started out as a shale or a mudstone, yeah. And it's been deformed pretty strongly. We can't see individual mineral grains, so that comes back to the grade question, which we'll have a look at in a moment. So you can't really say that there's plagioclase or quartz in there. There probably is. You would have to look at it in thin sections inside that, but they would not be metamorphic minerals. They would be the original detrital grains that made up the sediment. Okay, there's probably minor amounts of quartz in there. What would there be a lot of in the original rock? Clay. Yeah, there'd be a lot of clays. Okay, there's muddy rocks or clay-rich rocks. So there would have been a lot of clay in there. This has been metamorphosed, so the clay's probably still not present still. What would have clay been replaced by as you've come up temperature? That's causing the sheen, by the way.
Alright.
Yeah, when I say what mineral, don't give me a mineral group. Mica's a mineral group, yeah, it will be muscovite. And there's another platy mineral here, which is, how would you describe the colour? Dull grey with a bit of greenish.
Drainage. Chlorite.
Okay, chlorite's another platy mineral. It's sort of like micas, but it hasn't got potassium in it. But it still has a lamellar structure like micas do. And remember these platy minerals, in this case it's probably muscovite and chlorite, you can't see the individual grains, but you can infer that it's present, and they're what's causing the cleavage in this rock. Okay, so you can only infer the presence of them. Why wouldn't you call it a phyllite? Yeah, the sheen's not as high as you'd expect for a phyllite, although it's on the way. There actually used to be a slate quarry over the other side of the falls here many years ago. But most of the slates in Australia are fairly poor quality, those things like tiling, they tend to weather fairly quickly and they tend to fall apart. Where are we? We're with the... So we've got the slate. What type of metamorphism? Oh, I didn't say what grade, I said what type.
Regional.
Regional, okay, so it's regional, not contact. We've decided that it's the original rock was a mudstone or a shale. What's the name for that? Compositionally, what do you call it? Phylitic, so it's a phylitic rock, muddy rock. We may as well do the third bit of the classification, which is actually your question 4. What's the grade? Yeah, it's pretty low. I'll come back to the grain size thing, but we wouldn't call it a schist either because you can't see individual mineral grains. Okay, so it's fairly low. Now your other question that's there, the other two questions are about the deformation features. So one we've already discussed, it's got a very prominent foliation in it. When you walk around, I can see the text from here, when you do the walk, what we're going to do in a moment is walk around the gorge rim walk and have a look at the falls at the other end. You'll notice, like some of you can probably see in here, obviously these pieces are in situ. What's the orientation of the foliation? For those of, yeah, it's vertical. It's basically pretty much like this. What other deformation features can you see in the rock? Yeah, where do you look for alineation? You look on the foliation surface. So if you do that with the piece you've got, you look on that foliation surface, there's a fairly prominent lineation, which in this case is a stretching lineation. Okay, now when you see that in the in situ, and in fact you'll see it when you go and look at the falls, there's a set of stairs that go right down and you're looking front onto the waterfall. If you turn around and look the other way, you'll see a flat slab face, which is a cliff on the other side of the gorge, and you're looking straight onto the foliation surface when you're looking at that surface, and you'll see the lineation, and it's going straight down. Okay, so the lineation here, as well as the foliation, is vertical. Why do you have both foliation and lineation in rocks like this? What does that tell you about the style of deformation?
It's extension.
Yeah, it's not just flattening, it's shearing. Okay, so you've had differential movement like this. So what that tells you, that both the fact that both the foliation and the lineation are vertical around here tells you that, yep, they're sitting up like this, they've been flattened and they've been sheared, and the sense of shear, the orientation of shear has been vertical. When you actually look at this rock and pin section, you could probably almost call it a myelinite. The original sedimentary grains have undergone, they look a bit structurally, they look like the melange that we looked at Port Macquarie yesterday. You see sedimentary grains that are spun and they've got tails on them, and you can actually tell the sense of shear. Now, the foliation through here runs roughly south-southeast, north-northwest. That's the orientation of it. We've already said the lineation is vertical. So our rock's sitting like that, lineation vertical. What you need to decide next is, which you people won't be able to do, but I'll tell you, is that, okay, we've got vertical movement, but it isn't vertical shear, but is it that way, or is it that way? And that you can tell by looking at these things in thin section, the section that's cut like that. And in this particular case here, we've got our sort of roughly north-south foliation, vertical lineation. When you look at it in detail under the microscope, that actually tells you that it's east side down, west side up. So the sense of shear is actually like that. Now, why would that be? That sort of leads into the question there. Why is this rock so strongly deformed? What's the big picture? We're in a subduction accretion complex, accretionary prism if you like. If you think about the maps that we've looked at and what setting we're in, does that sense of shear, east side down, west side up, make sense? What's causing that?
Subduction plate.
Which way is the subducting plate coming from?
From the
east. It's coming from the east, and it's going underneath the eastern margin of the continent at the time, forming the arc, and that's the sense of shear, and that's exactly what you see in the rocks here. So when you go and map an area like this, you look at these rocks, you don't only map them on the surface, but you take oriented sections of them, you take them back and you look at them under the microscope, and that's the sort of level of detail that you can figure out. Just looking at the rock in hand specimen and an outcrop here, you can tell that it's been flattened and sheared, but you can't get the bigger picture and you can't tell the sense of shear very easily. Okay. Questions? Has Russ got anything to add? Alistair, Lydia?
While we have everyone here, you need to talk about the cracks.
Oh yeah, thanks Lydia. I mentioned this problem to you before we came away, and the fact that the first crack after the break, the Monday class, misses out because it's a public holiday. My suggestion was that they try and squeeze into the other two sessions, but there's not going to be enough room. So what I'm going to do, how many could make a Friday morning session? Well, just 9 till 12. The lecture starts at 12. So we might do that. That might be the way we'll handle that, because Monday's a holiday, so we'll squeeze everyone into what we can into the Wednesday afternoon class, the Friday afternoon class, and I'll run an additional one on the Friday morning. That'll be in G101 as well. And that way everyone gets a fair go. That's correct. Now with this walk, so go around, do all the touristy things, have a look at the falls, make sure you have a look at that rock face on the other side as you look away from the falls. That's really important. When you come back, don't walk back up the road. The gorge rim walk actually goes around the gorge rim. But whatever you do, do not cross the river. here, the person with lost said, oh, there's a bridge, I'll go across that. Don't go across the bridge, otherwise you won't end up back here. The track will actually bring you back here and the bus driver